Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I welcome you all at BCBA Center of Excellence. And today we are going to have a great session, a knowledge session. I also welcome attendees who have joined in, through our hybrid mode on Zoom. And we welcome you all and thank you for joining in today. So today's session is on a very important topic. And actually, there are two topics which are considered as the pillar of customs and managed through the WCO World Customs Organization. And as custom brokers, we are always day-to-day activity. Our day-to-day activities are involved around these activities. So one is classification, and the other one is the CAROTAR, which is related to the rules of origin. With India taking forward, the trade with various countries today and signing off with various trade agreements, the free trade agreements. The recent ones with UAE, we've signed with Australia, we've signed with we're signing it with UK in the next coming few weeks, months. This is a very important aspect. So today we have gathered here, and this session I'm sure will be very helpful to all. And classification being the core aspect where custom brokers are very much involved with and they have their expertise. Let us sharpen our skills and understand more with our speaker today, Mr. Pramod Sant, Dr. Pramod Sant, who's with us. So I will now ask our Senior Vice President and the head of the training committee, Mr. Sanjeev Harale, to kindly share the opening remarks to all of us here. Mr. Sanjeev Harale, he's already joined in, on this session. I will just connect Mr. Sanjeev, sir. Sanjeev, sir, are you able to hear? Can you unmute and we can have your address, sir?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to all the participants for today's workshop on CAROTAR and classification. Friends, the entire process of custom clearance is changing. As you can see, a lot of compliances have been introduced, which have a direct relation to the product and its classification. As you are aware, that classification is the first step during preparation of a bill of entry or a shipping bill. With new compliances and regulations being introduced, there is an urgent need for upskilling the workforce. BCBA has been a pioneer in conducting training programs, but this time we are looking at training on specific topics, and therefore our President Sri Dushyant Mulani ji felt that with a focused approach on imparting the knowledge, we could ensure faster clearance. When our documentation team receives a pre-alert, the first thing they have to decide is the correct classification of the product. In today's workshop, you will learn various important steps that are available in the tariff to arrive at the correct classification. Along with this, you will also be learning the CAROTAR rules, which require you to understand the basic information that the importer needs to know before importing the goods. These rules help the importer ascertain the country of origin and assist customs authorities in smooth clearance of the goods. Friends, today we are fortunate to have with us Dr. Pramod Sant, who is an industry expert and former Vice President, Head of Import, Export and Customs, Siemens Limited, who is himself going to impart the knowledge to all of you. With this, I extend my warm wishes to you all for a productive and enlightening workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeev, sir, for the opening remarks and sharing this valuable information with our audience today. I would now request Mr. Vinayak Apparaj, Vice President, BCBA, to kindly share his insights as we move ahead with the program. Yes, Vinayak, sir.
we are in Center of Excellence, BCBA Center of Excellence, and I would like to request all of you. Both the subjects are important and very much important in our regular business. So my request to all of you, please join in large number and please be for next 2 years and concentrate
on subject line. Thank you.
I think the sound was not clear. Maybe you repeat once. Thank you, Vinayak ji. Thank you for addressing the session. And my request to our honorary treasurer, Mr. Ganpat Kurde, to kindly address the gathering today.
Good morning, friends. I think today's seminar, many seminars we have conducted here, and this is one of the excellent center by the BCBA, and many programs we have also done here, and in future also many programs will be conducted here, and all the members are requested to take a note of them, and always be attend in a large number. And now today we have a seminar on both the subject selected by the BCBA. It is a very important subject. CAROTAR, every day we are facing the problems, facing the CO. What problem you are facing, you know very well about it. And classification also one of the good topics we have selected for the same. Every day and each and every consignment you have challenges for the classification. And fortunately we have one of the best speaker. We have a huge industry experience, who was the vice president in the Siemens Limited. And I can say you can take the opportunity. This is one of the opportunity for us. You can take the benefit of the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Korde. I would now request Mr. Tej Contractor, the chairman of the training committee, to kindly address the gathering today. Yes, Tej.
Hi, Nirav. How are you? Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. So a very good morning to everybody. Thank you to all the participants who have joined. BCBA training has always been innovative in the sessions that we do. We have with us a very interesting and a very relevant topic today, which is classification and CAROTAR. And we have with us none other than Mr. Sant, who's going to deliver an exceptional session. Thank you, Mr. Sant, for agreeing to join us. Friends, there are 3 pillars of customs today. The 3 pillars are basically classification, valuation, and rules of origin. Today we'll be covering the 2 pillars, and these are the 2 main areas. हमको जो main problems होते हैं clearance पे grassroots level पे, classification और CAROTAR पे, ये 2 चीज आज cover हो जाएंगे. Please join in. Please use this experience that you learned today in the field. It will help upskill ourselves and our fraternity and ensure that we lead a better tomorrow. Thank you very much. Nirav, over to you.
Thank you, Tej. Thank you for inspiring our gathering today. I may now request Ms. Chaitali Mehta, the co-chair of the training committee, to kindly come at the dais and please address our audience.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming here, and thank you to our audience who's joining us in the hybrid mode today. Everybody has said what is the importance of it, but for the people who are here attending physically, we would like to say that this event has been created so that whatever operational problems that you have, we have with relation to classification and CAROTAR, with help of Dr. Pramod Sant here today, आप लोगों का वो questions जो रहेंगे, doubts जो रहेंगे, वो class help clear हो सकेंगे. And the emphasis is कि जो हम लोग difficulties face करते हैं day to day में with relation to classification and CAROTAR, and even for the people sitting in the office where we have problems, this session today is going to help with that. Having said that, I am very happy to introduce our speaker for today. Just give me a second, please. Neerav bhai. This session is. Notes क्या है sir? Something for. Introduce करो. Sorry, as you can see, I'm not a tech person. My tech partner, Tej, is out. So apologies for this. A warm welcome to our office bearers. And Mr. Sant, thank you for gracing the occasion today. A short introduction for Mr. Dr. Pramod Sant. Dr. Pramod Sant is an industry expert and former vice president and heads the imports, export and customs for South Asia region that includes India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Maldives. He brings more than 39 years of experience in the supply chain management, procurement, indirect procurement, logistics, imports, export and foreign trade and export control and customs. During his tenure with Siemens and group companies in South Asia cluster, he was handling more than 45,000 shipments, and we all know that Siemens is one of the top importers at the Air Cargo Complex, Mumbai. One of the first companies to obtain an AEO Tier 2 in 2016 and 8th company in India to obtain it in 2019. Dr. Sant has implemented comprehensive web-based system to track all import-export details, licenses and export obligation, as well as KPI for the freight forwarders and customs brokers to improve productivity and ensure legal compliance. He has long experience in handling project cargo, ODC, etc. in India and established high standards in handling project cargo by combining method statements, environment, health, and safety. Some of the best practice cases are published and awarded globally. He has successfully built a cold chain warehouse and international supply chain for Siemens diagnostic products. He was recently awarded Honorary Doctor in Excellence in Supply Chain Management by the Young Scientist US University. He has received prestigious awards from industry bodies and forums, including the prestigious Dynamic Logistics Professional of the Year 2015 at the Maritime and Logistics Award, popularly called MALA by Exim India. So can we give a warm round of applause for Dr. Pramod Sant? There is nobody better as far as today's session is concerned, जो आप लोगों के issues, तुमच्या लोकांचे issues solve करून शकणार, and to explain to you at grassroots levels, why is CAROTAR important, why is classification important. From my point of view, I should tell you, आप हमारी आइडेंटिटी हमारे नेम से होती है. If we don't have a name, we don't have an identity. We are a human being. Similarly, for our cargo, when we have to clear it and we have to send it abroad, और जब हम लोग उनको import करके लेते आते हैं, the only identity that our cargo has is with the help of classification. If there is no classification, there is nobody who understands what our cargo is. That is why it becomes very essential. जैसा हमारा नाम अपना identity होता है, वैसे cargo को correct identification होना चाहिए, जिसमें classification आता है. बहुत time हम लोग mistake कर जाते हैं या उसको due importance देते नहीं है. जैसा वीजा हम लोगों को लिए लगता है to travel abroad and tickets लगता है, वैसा CAROTAR is also very important to understand when we are doing international trade. So I hope that you all take advantage of this, and on behalf of the Skills and Training Development Committee, we wish you all the best for today's session. Dr. Pramod Sant.
I can do it. Follow my this mic.
No, this is fine.
Don't do this.
No, I will.
Yeah.
For the survey.
Going well.
Stay with the- Okay.
This is our.
This is
We have to do the show, no, this one, no. I will share that. Can you just share the show? Change.
One. I will see. Moving. Now it's going to move. Fast.
Right.
एक बार पूछ लो।
Friends, we have started the screen sharing and I hope everyone can see the screen. We will be just starting the session now by Dr. Sant. Thank you.
This will remain, no? ये नीचे वाला रहेगा ना? ठीक है, रहने दो, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Okay. So good morning, everybody. So first I wanted to thank BCBA, President Dushyant Mulani, Harale, Tej, and Chaitali for giving me this opportunity. So, and very nice conference room which is built and with a good purpose. And I think we should really utilize that to have very close to work and very modern. So I'm really happy to be here for giving this lecture. We will have little definitely interaction. थोडीसं मराठी, थोडी हिंदी, इंग्लिश, पण जास्त इंग्लिश त्याच्यामध्ये. But you are free to ask questions. Maybe I will be able to answer some of them now. Some we will try, and we'll find out some answers on that. So.
Not changing?
Not changing.
Tap करना था
Screen के ऊपर.
नहीं, नहीं, इस side.
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay. So we will have, for understanding any topic, we need to go little into deep, more on concept, more on to the basics. Then many times the operational problems or day-to-day problem can get solved if you know the basics. And his basics astat, they are the most important when you learn that. So we have some topic for history, what is World Custom Organization, classification, how it started, when it started, then general rules of interpretation, some case studies, and how to build a good organization. So we will see them. And you would have seen earlier slide, but still I wanted to ask you, you are handling customs for so many years. Custom हे profession किती जुना असू शकेल? 600 BC, you have seen the slide. Yeah, so very good. So if you look at the really customs profession is really more than 3,000-year-old now. And all the details of that, they are available into the Egyptian. So Egyptian, the scripts, whatever they found, it is written there, how to handle the custom clearance, what are the details which are there. Similarly, a lot of things. तुम्ही दररोज bill of entry file करता, shipping bill file करता. So it was there in history also. Some of the slides, some of the items which were imported, which were having olive oil or wine, it was having country of origin, it was having rates, it was having which shipment. Of course, that time the duty and other things were charged very different way. The duties, maybe the material were coming on the camel. So it was decided that one camel can have 4 boxes or 6 boxes, how to measure that. So it was there in the past. It changed today to our EDI and other system. So the history goes on really back. Then as an Indian, we are very proud that we have invented many things. And this is also script, this gives you detail that yes, probably the first custom tariff was given in India in Arthashastra. It says that how to charge the duty, and duty charge on the various items, bamboo, fiber, salt, and cooked rice, 1/20th or 1/20th of toll. So this is how the duties were that time charged. And this is mentioned into Arthashastra, 4th century BC. So as an Indian, we are always proud that we are having a lot of culture, old history. We were invented many things. And this also gives that, yes, the initial custom tariff, which is written first, was in India. Then the final truth, I think because of this, we are having jobs, we are having profession, we are having career. This is what is said. Benjamin Franklin, who is one of the really learned person and who was pioneer into when America became separate from the Europe. He made this sentence that in life, everything is going to change, but 2 things will never change. One is a tax and another is death. So taxes will remain. You go anywhere, you will have some type of taxes. And because taxes are there, we have a profession, we are able to guide people, we are able to support the industry. So this is very important. So now coming back to 2 important organizations, World Trade Organization and World Customs Organization. And these 2 organizations decides ते ठरवतात की जगभर कसा काय पद्धतीने व्यापार करायचा, कशी ट्रेड करायची, how to import, what are the duties, how. So World Trade Organization decides how the valuation should be happening and rules of origin. And World Custom Organization, they maintain the HS code reference. So these 2 organizations are important for us very much. And you must be reading in everyday newspaper that, okay, WTO is coming with something else, or some of the schemes, particularly foreign trade policy, MES was removed because WTO never approved that. So WTO is the one who decides that the trade should be fair. You should not be charging very high duties. You should not be giving subsidies. So that is controlled by WTO. And World Custom Organization, really, which is our pioneer body, which gives guidelines for entire customs across the world. WCO, sometime back, the Tej also mentioned the trade facilitation. This is the most important word today. The trade facilitation. Earlier, if you look at custom was more only onto collection of duties. So the custom main objective is that how much higher duty they will collect, how high volume of duties they will collect, how they will ensure that the industry custom clearance and other things, which was not so much friendly, but that has changed with trade facilitation agreement principles, that there are now changed. Now customs says that for the country's safety, security, trade facilitation is our motto, and the duty collection goes to the third level. So they ensure that all the material which is coming, somebody is not unduly dumping in India. Then they look at the anti-dumping and other duties. So similarly, the custom principles have changed. They are supposed to do more facilitation, transparency, that we need to know really how our shipments are getting cleared on time, how is the details, and they are made available on public. And you must be seeing that at any time you have all the trade facilitation meetings, their minutes are available on this thing. They release the time release study, which keep on coming. So all that transparency is coming. Simplification. Those who are doing custom clearance for large years, they must be feeling that yes, now it has become simpler. The things that the duty slabs, other things are coming down. A lot of processes becoming simple. Harmonization, standardization, and then you try to do more standard, which will be helpful. So this is what WCO is doing. But and another very important thing, WCO, because they have 185 member countries, and world's whatever is the trade, 98% is handled by these members. So WCO become a most important. Then we come to classification. We must be thinking that I shown you something which was in history, how the classification or tariff was charged. But this graph will give you an idea that how from 1927 till 23 today, how the classification has changed. In 1927, League of Nations, they decided that we need to have some standardization, which was followed by Geneva nomenclature. And in 1931, you were having 21 section, 86 group, 991 headings. Then it was revised. Many of you will know the BTN classification. Now today, what we call it HS classification was earlier called BTN, Brussels Tariff Notification Nomenclature. So which came into 1950. And then this custom WCO was formed in 1994, where they started work. And finally in 1988, HS classification came into the picture. And this keep on getting updated. If you remember, last amendment was in 2022. Last amendment was in 22, which the HS classification got amended. So this is a journey, and this is a continuous journey where classification will get added, some of classification will get removed. So can anybody tell why new classification will get added? Specification. Okay. Any other idea? New products are invented. Yes, new technology is invented. Yeah. Proper classification. Okay. Anything anybody want to add? Why new classification should be coming? Okay, let's see that. Yes, but what you have mentioned, it gives you good idea. We'll come to that. Now, why classification is required? It serves really a lot of big purpose. Based on classification only, you are able to charge the custom tariffs. So the custom tariff is decided. Where to apply the custom tariff, you need a classification. Then international trade statistics, which is very important, that how much business is happening, how much imports are happening, how much exports are happening, which out of that, how much is being done for which item. Then the rules of origin, how the rules of origin to be set, because the rules of origin are set according to the classification. So how it will end, the internal taxes. Now GST, again, you have the same classification. So whether it was excise duty, whether it was now or VAT or it is GST, your basis become the classification. Then free trade agreements. When free trade agreements are negotiated, people decide that, okay, these items I want to give duty free, these items I want to reduce the duties, on this item, I cannot reduce duties. So free trade agreements are discussed on that. Then the monitoring of control goods. There are some goods which you cannot export, or some of the goods which are on which you want to ensure that it will be not properly exported, chemical weapons, etc. All these items needs to be monitored, and that can be monitored only when you have a right classification for that. And customs, how they will implement the control. Now, if you look at HS classification, based on classification, there are various rules, non-tariff barrier, BIS you want to apply. How you will use the BIS is when you have a classification or this HS code, yes, there is a BIS applicable, not applicable, or some items which are restricted. How you can do that? It is it forms a important basis for classification. So why this classification is important? After seeing that, what has been decided and how this classification comes is very important, that everybody should follow the same type across the globe. So we need to have the similarity. Otherwise, in one country, somebody will class some items as some different, somebody will class it as something different. That's why WCO came with this, and they have made in HS convention, which is signed by 202 countries, territories, customs, economic unions. They have signed, in which it is agreed that the first 6 digits will be common. No country can change that first 6 digits. So even if you go to any other country and try to find out 8501, it will be same across the globe. You will not have the differentiation. So basically, it is agreed that countries will stick to this HS6 digit code. How the numerical sequence has to be there. Modifications are not allowed publicly. The statistics, and then it is mandatory for governments to declare the statistics. So if you look at the Ministry of Commerce, and they release a lot of statistics that is based on that, which items import is increased, which item export is decreased, or what happened. This all trade statistics, it is mandatory for each government to declare that. So this is agreed with WCO, and as per all these contracting parties globally. So you come to know, yes, in last quarter, how much exports has been done, which SS code imports has, and then you come to know, okay, no, petroleum good imports is increased, or electrical machineries imports is increased, or some exports have reduced. We come to know only because of that. So this is what is the HS code following because of WCO. Then we saw that some new code comes. So World Custom House, when we look at the system, they have committees which are working on that. So when you think about any HS code, the people have spent their couple of years on each of the items there. There are people from different areas, experts, they sit in WCO, and then they make up. And it is also, as we mentioned, that there are new products coming. Then there is a scientific subcommittee. Then there is various parties. So in WCO, any recommendation goes, it goes through your country's representation. So people keep on giving the details. Then there are review subcommittee, which are working on classification. So if you have seen, I was asking why the HSS code has to be amended. Then new products which keep on coming, and you will see last so many years, the new products which keep on coming, technology changing very fast, the new product comes. So when new products are coming, you need to find some code for that when these products are not existing. Then environmental and social concerns. So this is very important. If you look at today, you have many items which affect the environment, and we are seeing that today everywhere. Today, if you look at, we have a environmental disaster news coming on. So last was into more earthquake. Then Libya has got because of typhoon, close to 20,000 people are supposed to be dead. So all these concerns which are there, which continuously need updation into some codes, some products which will get added, some products needs to be more controlled, and this concern. And the third is low trade volume. So any item to have HS code at heading level, it needs to have $100 million US business. Then only that HS code will remain at heading level. At subheading level, 50 million US dollar is a threshold. So if you look at all the HS code in book, each subheading and heading have got so much business, then only you are able to have such HS code. So it happened that some HS code volume get reduced because then they can get dropped. Then some items come new, their volume increases, so accordingly it get added. So this very important thing, other than new products, with even if with trade volumes, your HS code can get amended. Now, if you look at how much time as per you the HS code new getting created been happening, you are aware 2022 the new codes came. How much long process that could be as per you? So every 5 years, WCO keep on adding the new codes or changes. How long that process could be? Yeah, 10 to 15 years. Okay, but too long. We cannot wait. 3 to 5 years. Okay, yes. So it's very important that a lot of work goes on. The proposal comes for such changes. Secretariat looks into that, whether it is a received proper country or what is represented. It goes to committee, review committee, it goes to HS committee. They give draft this thing, which goes to council. Council recommends and get implemented. And then this is close to, it goes on, this goes from 2.5 years to 5 years. All the process goes. So many departments are involved into this. And if you look at how it has changes. So 1992, 96, 2002, from 2002, you can see every 5 years, the amendments are happening and the new HS codes are coming. So today there is a debate that can we wait for a new HS code for 5 years? Now, if you look at the way which technology is changing, last changes came in 2022. So that means new HS code will come only at 2027. Can we wait for that? By that time, if there is no proper HS code, what happens? You know very well. There is a dispute, then there is a litigation, then there are problems. Somebody will pay higher duty, somebody will classify differently. So can we wait for that? So there is a lot of deliberation happening with WCO. Can this process be made faster? Can it be more practical? Can it require? Because today the changes are so much that this HS code, maybe probably we will see the things, result will come that maybe this period will get reduced. Yeah. So what happened in 22? We have got 351 set of amendments which was there. Many items got added, many items got changed. So every time it's important. Why I am showing you this? You will say, okay, whatever happening 5 years, why I should be worried? But it's very important that what changes happen. So when practically when these changes are happening, they are declared well in advance. So as a custom broker and to look for your customers, it's important that what are the changes going to happen? Are some HS code getting deleted? Are some HS code coming new? What is happening? You need to study for your own chapters, your own HS code, see what is going, change is going to happen, whether it will affect, inform customers, discuss with customer and take the steps. So any changes, it's very important that you need to, and they are well planned. So you have time available there. So you need to do that. So changes become very important. Now think about some HS code change, which was in free trade agreement. Then what will happen? You were getting concession for that. Something happened, whether it get changes into the free trade agreement or not, or how it is going to happen. All that thing needs to be seen. Modern customs broker, if you look at an entire system, he's the one who is hands-on, and the job of custom broker is between customs and the importer exporters, which is very vital. And you need to see that what customer is doing, they are being trained, they are educated much more onto this, because you are the experts. And then you need to know this classification subject really into the detail. And it's like just like people call it जशी गीता असते, Bible असतं, तसं आपल्याला हे classification, it should be really up to our heart. Yeah. Now, if you look at classification, WCO has got many publications. HS classification handbook, Then compendium of classification opinion and explanatory notes. So many of the custom brokers have explanatory notes available with them, which are very important and they need to be referred. So these publications are important to be available. Explanatory notes, they are like really useful. Your office should have already, or if not, at least you need to have the explanatory notes available with you. Then this is very important. How is the classification is framed into totality? So if you look at easiest part is first is that you have 21 section, 97 chapters, 4 digits, 1222 headings, 6 digit, 5387 subheadings, plus 300 got added. Somehow it's very interesting that people have not ते नाही मी त्याला विचारलं ते नाही गेलं वरच is the hand. Okay. Yeah. So somehow if you look at this 6-digit figure, nobody has officially published it. So everywhere you will see that it is written 5387 subheading plus 300 or some figure. Exact that figure is not really mentioned anywhere. Then you have a section notes, you have a chapter notes, HSN explanatory note, and WCO's publication I have shown you. Then rules of interpretation, case laws, judgments, international, what is happening globally. Department gives clarification and advance ruling. So all this becomes a set of entire system of classification. So you need to know virtually everything in that. Why important? Because some judgments have come from court, which is going to affect us in India. Our court has given it, we need to follow. So Dushyant, you're sitting here. So welcome. I mean, I just saw Dushyant coming and sitting here. Yeah. So the case laws which are happening in Indian courts, they give judgment which affects many things. Then sometimes the worldwide, in some countries, some judgments are given, which can be also referred. Department gives clarification and the advance ruling. So how many of you have applied for advance ruling and got for advance ruling in some cases? Anybody into here? Huh? Yeah. So what happened? The advance ruling is one method by which you are able to protect. You go to department, very good procedure, and they have made a really big, a good team. And Mumbai is the center where you are able to give them details, apply. They give you judgment, and then your classification is fixed for time. So you have surety. So advance ruling is one of the very important mechanism. So we will see all this, how it works into the classification framework. Yeah. Now, again, this same structure shown a little different way, but two things which you need to know in that 97 chapter, the chapter 77 is kept reserved for future use. So there is no chapter 77 into the tariff book. And another thing which is very different, that India has got chapter 98, which is not there in globally. So we have, you must have cleared the material and project imports at 9801. So India added chapter 98 for project imports, laboratory chemical, baggage, anything, which is purely Indian invention in all these things. So you will see that globally, if you go and anybody who is abroad handling custom clearance, or if you talk to him about chapter 98, he will never know what is chapter 98. Whereas in India, we have chapter 98 and chapter 77. It is not there existing at the moment. Yeah. Again, this structure, you are very well aware. It goes into, it starts with living entities, natural products, then natural products. From that, you come out with raw material, then you have semi-finished product and finished. So this is a structure, how the section chapters are categorized or arranged is in the same way for this. And now it comes very important, and you need to pay your attention that then how are the structure happens. general interpretative rule 1, then you have 2 and 5, and each bucket you will come to know little later why it is important and shown separately. Then your section note, chapter notes, subheading notes, headings, 5-digit subheading and 6-digit subheading. So we will see one by one each of them. Now in this earlier slide was from WCO, which is there, but this slide has got something specific to India, which is not there in anywhere in world again, which is a supplementary notes. So if you go to global WCO, you will see that there is no supplementary notes. Supplementary notes are only in India and in specific to India only. And why that is important, we will see. But again, we have something else, like how we are having chapter 98, we have supplementary notes as a again addition. So anytime when you want to do classification, these are the few steps which you need to follow. You need to go headings, subheadings, section notes, chapter notes. So I wanted to ask you, you are doing classification so many times, where you read the chapter notes, you need a section notes, how you do for classification? Yeah? Starting of the chapter. So you read that first. Okay. So you go to chapter notes afterwards, or first you classify item and then see, or how you do? Okay. 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 Yeah. And every time you do that, every time you really go to a chapter note, section note, and then look, or whenever it is only required, you do, how do you? Only when it is required. Okay, good. So we'll see that how they are important to see. Interpretative rules, HS explanatory note, and opinion and alphabetical index. So these are all help to you into a classification. Now it's very interesting that how many countries, which countries has got how many HS code. If you look at USA has got 10-digit code, UK has 10 digit, China has got 13 digits, whereas India has got 8 digit, UAE has got 8 digit, and other countries, Thailand has got again a very little odd 11 digit. So each country follows the different number of digits, but more the digits, it become more clarity. So people are now, GST has got how many digits? GST has got 8 digits. Custom has got 8 digits. GST follows lower digits than that. 6 digits, 4 digits. So then there is always an issue, which was like earlier, you have 4 digits, you have, but only good thing which has come is that GST will follow the HS classification now, so that they don't have their own anything, which will be HS code. Customs classification become basis for the GST, which is a good part of it, which at least one ambiguity has got reduced. But this problem keep on coming, because if you are importing something from other countries, maybe that invoice will have 10 digit and we are classifying with 8 digits. So such problems you will face practically. So what you do in this case, you have come across such cases that importer's invoice has got more digit and you have got less. What you do? Anybody want to tell? First 6 digit and it up to 8 digit, then what you do? You take out of that 10 digit, 8 digit, or you do 6 digit and look at Indian and do 8. How do you do? Our own. Okay. Then our subheading, and then you make it our 8 digits, and which may be different, which again there may be clash with, may not match with the invoice which is given in other countries. It could happen that way. Okay, so all that causes queries. And customer officer will say that in invoice it is different, you are having different, all disputes which keep on happening that way. But that is a part of life. It is bound to happen because everybody will never have the same number of digits. So wherever you import from, you will have different digits. Now, example, you are all knowing very well, but still we need to say there is a section, then you have a chapter, which is 2-digit, chapter heading 4-digit, subheading 6-digit, and tariff items at 8-digit. So this is how it works. And the example, most of my example will be chapter 85 because I have been working on chapter 85, 84 only most of the time. So my most of examples will be on 84, 85 only, and some on 90s, but to that extent less. And the most important is, as a custom broker, you could be more lucky that you will handle more variety of classification than your importer and exporters, because they will handle only what is required for them. But when you have multiple customers, you will look into different chapters. You will have somebody who is in iron and steel, somebody in paper, somebody into chemicals, somebody into medical equipment, somebody electrical, some machinery. So you have a chance to more, and that's why you need to have that expertise much more, because you are having wide variety and wide access to the lot of data and cases. So it's very important that you have completely clarity about how all the rules and other things happen. Now, it's the same example. You have 6 digits. Only it shows that the first 6 digits as per the WCO standard, 7 and digit as per country. So each country can decide what is to be given at 7 and 8 digit. And that's why there will be variation into your importer's invoice and what you are going to classify here. But first 6 digit will remain the same. Now, this single dash, if you look at the tariff book, you have single dash, double dash, then 3, sorry for that spelling, 3 and 4 dash, and each has got the meaning. The single digit dash at the beginning of description, the group, denoting the primary classification of item covered by heading, subdividing heading, and when it go to 2 dash, you get a further division, and 3 and 4, which become important further sec 2 levels. So it is structured very well that if you look at the number of digits, dashes, you are able to come to know very properly. And this is a similar way globally it happens. So you know exactly that what is your 6 digit, from 6 digit, what goes to the next 2 levels, what happens to the next level. It is classified into the proper with each of these dashes. Yeah. And which, if somebody follows and read it properly, then your lot of confusion can get reduced. Yeah. Now, if you look at, if everything is available into book, you don't have to worry about, because every item is classified, but that way it never happen. So in order to really classify the item properly, easiest way and very important is that it should not leave any doubts in your mind. Then we need to have, each product will only need to have only one heading and one classification. This is how it needs to be done. And otherwise it becomes a complex. So whenever you cannot classify it with headings and other things, you require a general rule of interpretation. So I will read through this. To completely sound, a classification system must associate each individual product with single heading or a subheading. That means one product we should exactly able to classify into the only one heading and or one subheading, and very simple way. And it should not leave any doubt that, okay, whether it should go into this subheading or that subheading, we need to do it that properly. Hence, it must contain rules designed to ensure that a given product is always classified in one and same heading. So otherwise it will really create chaos, and that is what we see that earlier many times it happens that officer changes or you do, or we have also seen in our case, same item, if it comes to one custom broker, it classifies differently. It goes to another custom broker, he classifies separately. It goes to one officer, he classifies differently. It goes to different port, it classifies differently. So we need to see all these things can be reduced by using the general rules of interpretation. So all classification decision must be based on application of these rules. Yeah. So I wanted to ask how many time you have used the rules? Anytime doing classification, have you used the general rule of interpretation? Yes. Rule. You started from interpretation rules. Okay. Because that's what we are going to tell you, that you need not start from general interpretation rule. You should look at the heading, subheading, note. If you cannot classify, then you go to the rules. So if you look at virtually in maybe 80-90% cases, you don't have to go to rule unless it becomes. So what we do, or that's the always problem, that you try to solve the issue with some solution. But whereas if you follow methodically, then the solution could have been much easier. So that's why when there is a doubt, then only you need to go to a thing. If you cannot classify, and that's what we will see here, that if we cannot classify with the heading, subheading, chapter notes, then only you need to go to a rules of interpretation. Okay, so then everybody is knowing, because you are all doing that, you have rules, 6 rules of interpretation, and 1 to 4 which are, and 5 and 6 which are standalone. So another important thing is that this rule needs to be used into sequence. That means you cannot go to rule number 2 directly or 3 directly. You need to go to 1, 2, 3, 4. If you are going to one rule 1 is used, it solves your problem. If it cannot be solved at 1, then you go to 2, then you go to 3, yeah, or 4. But you cannot directly jump to the 3rd and 4th directly. So we will see one by one rules. Now I wanted to first read out this rule so that we are clear. The titles of sections, chapters, and subchapters are provided for ease of reference only. For legal purpose, classification shall be determined according to the terms of the heading and any relative section or chapter notes, and provided such heading or notes do not otherwise require according to the following provisions. The legal elements of classifications are the terms of heading, section or chapter notes, and if not prevented by the 2 elements above, remaining general interpretation rules. So how to follow, this is what it gives. And when we look at the title, so now what it says, now let me break down into this thing. The titles of section, chapter, and subchapter are provided for ease of reference only. That means what is a section? Section we see, section is mechanical, machinery and mechanical appliances. This is all given. This is only for reference. So this, you cannot say that it is legally bound, or because my words are coming into this section, I am classified. You cannot do that. The section description, machinery, mechanical appliances, electrical equipment, parts thereof, sound recorders, etc., etc., is only given for reference purpose. It has got no legal binding. Same way, the chapter 84, it says the nuclear reactor, boiler, machinery, etc., etc. Again, it is given only for reference. You cannot use that as a basis for classification. This is what it says. So we'll come back to that. So the title of section, chapter, and subchapter are provided for ease of reference only. And so with this, you are able to have reference that, okay, my item will fall in chapter, section so and so, and chapter 84 or 85. This is what you will come to know. But it has got no legal background backing on that. Then the another is the tariff line items. If you look at the tariff line items are specific. So you will never find the duty at 4 level. You will find the duty at only wherever there are the tariff line items where you will have a duty. So these are called tariff line items. These are called the tariff line items. Now, heading reference, which is there under the heading reference, section notes, chapter notes, subheading notes, and supplementary note. This is a flow on which we will be able to do classification. As I mentioned, the rule 1 to 4 is to be applied sequentially, and 5 and 6 become standalone. So now, if you look at section note, we saw that section 16 machinery, which is for reference. Then this section notes, this section note does not cover. So this is very important. That gives you first thing that what it not covered. So if you look at all the sections into the book, you will find the first note, it gives what is not covered. So you are very clear that what it is not covering. So when you read this, you are very clear that some of the items will not come into this chapter. It will go somewhere else. So this is a very basic thing which we need to look into, that this section, what it's not going to cover, which is coming into the section note. Then one more thing which always you have trouble into the customs is the classification of parts, because every time most of the things, this is in 84 and 85, that how to classify a part is always a dispute, and there is a maximum disputes come into the parts. Yeah. So let's see how to work on the part. So if you look at section, particularly section notes, it gives you very clear idea that how to classify the part, note number 2. And this note has got 3 parts, A and B and C, which are very important. And then again, we break down into that A part separately, B part separately, and C part separately, so that we are very clear. But any part classification, you have to go to section note number 2, go into 2, find out whether A is applicable, B is applicable, C is applicable. Now, I just wanted to ask, this is an example which you might have gone through or listening. This is an electrical motor for a household washing machine. So this is a part, this is a motor, which are, now what it says, the note A, which says the part which are goods. Now this is very important, parts which are goods. Now motor is a part of washing machine, but it is good by itself actually, because motor is also classified properly. So included in any heading. So parts which are goods included in any of the heading of chapter 84 or 85, other than heading so and so, are in all cases to be classified in their respective headings. Yeah. So anybody want to tell what he has understood here? Parts which are goods included into any of the headings of 84 and 85 are in all cases to be classified in their respective heading. Now, one, parts which are goods, if we understand that, yes, you have a machine in which there is a part which is there. Let's say it is a motor, but motor itself is also goods, which is separately classified. Then if you bring spare as a motor, it will be classified in the respective heading. So let's see. Now there are options. Let's see, electrical motor, household washing machine. You have 8501, electrical motors and generated, then output something. Then you have 8450, household laundry machine, washing machine, and 845090 parts, where you will classify now motor. 8501. Yeah. Yeah, end use, instead of, if now what happens is that if you use the end use word, become confusing. It is a respective heading. The respective heading is a right wording. Yeah. Yeah, that's why it will go into the this thing. So it will not go into the, yeah. So if you look at now, what I did is, if you are able to do, now I wrote that section 2A, which was, yeah. You have some. Then in that, very clear, very correct. So what you will do? You will tell him the rule. No, that's the whole problem. See, if you are able to tell no, if you look at section note number 2A, it's very clear. You cannot classify that into end use. Again, end use is a word which is not there into proper classification anywhere. See, now look at this A. What I'm going to parts which are goods and respective heading. So people get confused. What is goods and what is respective heading? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write it with a part. If you do that, it becomes very easy. Now what I've done, parts which are motors. Now instead of motor, you use any other word. You are able to write, see, look at parts which are goods. Instead of good, I am got a motor imported. I put word motor there. Then including any heading, so and so, classify in their respective heading. So is motor having respective heading? Yes. What is 8501? So now you tell why he is going anywhere, because rule says so and so. He should not be classifying that. Of course, you will have to fight with people. You have to give it in the writing. You will have to put, you have to raise that it is not acceptable. This is all happen on ground reality, which I know very well. But if you are able to tell him, sir, under this note, which is very clearly written 2A, you are able to tell him, sir, note 2A very clearly says this is there. Then he will say, "Arey yaar, isko to malum hai, rule to malum hai isko." So maybe he will help you out to see, "Theek hai, jaane do, tum bolte ho, to I accept this time, whatever will happen practically." But fact is, this is a very way easy. If you look at what I simply did, whenever I get confused, I written that 2A and I change the, in that I put the respective wording. Then you get an answer. If any of this is not fitting, then you will not be able to classify it there. It's very clear. Yeah. So we are clear on 2A part.
Yes.
But definitely, see, now you have advantage that you would have been able to see many more other classifications where you are able to use that from one example. So I found that it's very easy that when I do put it into filling the blanks. In school, we used to have that filling the blanks to complete the word sentence. So if filling the blanks, we get an answer, which is the easiest way. Then if you look at note 2B, again, other parts, if suitable for use solely or principally with the particular kind of machine or with a number of machines of the same heading, including so and so, are to be classified with machine of that kind or in heading 84 so and so. However, parts which are equally suitable for use principally with goods heading of 8517 and 25-88 will be classified in heading 8517, and parts which are suitable for use solely principally with the goods of heading 8524 are to be classified in 8529. So one is that when you read this note, always we get confused. So we again break it down into three parts. See what happened, the law is written in always very complex word and it becomes difficult. So it is always easy to break it down so that we understand that properly. So B has got full para. What I done is that I have divided into three parts. So it becomes much simpler. So first part says that other parts, if suitable for use solely or principally with a particular kind of machine or with a number of machines of the same heading, are to be classified with the machine of that kind. So you are clear, you have removed first part. Or in heading so and so, so and so. And the third is always telecom mess, which is there, which you make it in 8517 as the easiest part. So let's see some examples of this. Now, again, what easiest way to do is that are to be classified with machine of that kind. How I will replace that? So if you look at same washing machine example, that I go there and in there 84, 50, 90 parts are mentioned, parts of household, right? So I am having specific entry for parts, I classify here. Or here somehow this thing keep on coming in between. I don't know how to get rid of that. But if it is a steam turbine, again you have in 8406 parts. So you are able to classify the parts. So one which was in part A, which was having specific identity, which you classified with the earlier way. Now, second lot, you are able to classify wherever there are the parts. So is this clear? So any part you go with A, which are the goods, you have gone with the main reference. When there is a specific classification of parts in 85, when 2B, you have classified that as a B here. It makes it easier. Now, or in heading so and so, so and so, so and so. So if you look at the B part, we have divided. First part we saw are to be classified with machine itself or in heading. So second part, if we look at, then we have very examples. Electrical motors, there's a parts, there is a separate heading 8503. So if you look at 8501, electrical motors, so 8503 says parts suitable for use solely or principally with the machine of heading 8501 or 8502, parts can be classified here. So some parts you got rid of in A, then many parts in 2B first part, 2B second part, and similar way you are able to classify. So this is an example of 8501 and 2 go in 8503, but similar way 8409 or 8407 or 8406. Similarly, this is all organized. So you are able to classify further more parts into that. Then the third section, which was the last, particularly all the telecom related issues which was there, parts which are equally suitable for use principally with the goods of heading 8517 and 8525, 85 to 8528 to be classified in 8517. So this become much easier. Of course, this is a more an area which is developing, so there is a lot of confusion, new again circular, so it adds to this thing, but still you are having very clear direction that with note 2B, you many of the parts which goes here, and 8524 will go into 8529. Again, it is a very clearly specified here. Then comes a note C. If you look at we have seen note 2 was having part A, B, C. B we divided into 3. A we saw, and the C is the last one where majority of the parts which cannot be classified will go into here. All the other parts which to be classified in heading so and so will go into the 85, 40, 84, 87 or 85, 48. So more or less here the principle is if it is a mechanical parts which cannot be classified somewhere else, it will go into 84, 87, 8, and if it is electrical parts which will go into 85, 48, which will be there. So with this you are able to really classify a lot of parts where there is a confusion into this thing. So is it clear, or can you tell now any of example which you have using which is relevant, and then this is how I classify in a part into any of this thing, so that not an electrical or 84 chapter example, but any other chapter which you have been doing regularly, you wanted to add that. But main thing what you can do is that when you go back and then these slides will be available with you, you need to think that, okay, this is how I am classifying this part. This is how I am using that. Then you will be able to face custom much better way, because you are doing that already. Now, if you are able to fit it into either note 2A, B or C, you are very clear. If there is some dispute or some objection, then what we need to tell officer or try to give him in writing, or what needs to be done, that you can do. Then you have a section notes which comes. The section notes will help you into classifying little further this thing, each section note. So for example, this note will classify the machine consisting of 2 or more functions. Then which principal function is it is doing that. It's possible to, you are able to use this. And here again, at any point of time. So when we go further after rules, what you need to do along with importer, how you will collect all this information become most important, because that is the way only you are able to explain that. If the machine is there, what are its principal function, what are more function it is doing, which you should be able to classify in combination of machines. Then you have a chapter notes. Again, as I mentioned, again, every time the chapter note will go, this chapter, what it is not covering. So when you are doing any classification, when you go to chapter note, you are able to see whether this chapter will cover it or not. And then it will go into some other chapter. Now, for example, in this note, we are looking at chapter 85. Chapter 85 is electrical, but this note very clearly says that electrical heated furniture of chapter 94 is not covered here. Then machines or apparatus or vacuum apparatus, his heading is going into 1918. So very clearly it tells you there that my item, even though it looks electrical, but it is not in HUI chapter, it will go somewhere else. So this chapter notes gives you clarity on such a confusing items which could have different application. Then these are the few examples which are there, that these chapter notes have been put because there were a lot many disputes or confusion, to clarify that this is notes are provided. Then you have a subheading notes. Subheading notes will give you further clarity as what are the items which needs to be clarified. Now, if you look at the example which is given here too, for the purpose of subheading 84, 71, 49 in terms, system means automatic data processing, which is computers. So each subheading notes will help you to classify some of the items or what it is not covering. So for example, subheading 8521, 81 covers only high-speed television camera, digital camera, and video recording with one or more of the following characteristics. So with this note, you are, if at all you are importing a television camera, where it will go, where it will not get covered, we will have some example. But more and more you will see in this 84, 85 chapter, because that is the most where there are more confusion which are happening. Then supplementary note, as I mentioned, that supplementary notes are only India specific. And why? Because maybe in India we found that we try to sometimes find out many rate confusion, or we have many places confusion. So we create, so supplementary notes really helps us. Now here they have clarified the software. 8520 information technology software means any representation of instruction, data, sound, or image, including source code and object code, recorded in machine readable form, capable of being manipulated or providing interactive to the user by means of an automatic data processing machine. So automatic data processing machine is computer, and the software technologies, how it is classified. So this note is only in India, but definitely it helps us for classification. And because we will find lot many softwares which were having issues. So this note has helped. If you look at these notes, we have seen the various notes, chapter level, heading, subheading notes, supplementary, to define the precise scope of and limits of each subheading, heading or group of heading, chapter or section. So this notes really explains you the further details. Now, why supplementary notes are important? These are really good examples. if you look at in India, we are for one item, we use different names. Now, if you look at aloo bhujia, somebody will call it some different, somebody will call it different way. Then how to classify that? So supplementary notes in India are classified in such a way that it will help for classification. So there will be items which are, for example, pan masala, which is a beetle thing, nut products, how it will, some people call it supari, somebody will be scented, it will having some coating on that. So supplementary notes have clarified all that thing, and which helps. Or if you look at the 2106, sweet meats commonly known as mithas, mithai, or any other name. Similarly, namkeen, mixture, all that is classified in supplementary notes, which will really help and not to have disputes. Or definitely people find out the ways to create dispute, but supplementary notes in India are very important, and I really like that because it reduces a lot of issues. Similarly, another issue comes into the classification. We have seen that the title of section, chapter, and sub-chapters are only provided for reference only. For legal purpose, classification shall be determined according to the terms of heading. So now this is an example. You have a section where base metal and article of base metal is there. So gold, if you look at, gold will not fall into that. This will be coming into different chapter or the section. So what happens is that the chapters are only for information. It could happen that for legally you will have to go into the different. So if you look at the gold, whether it will go in base metal, it will go into the natural or semi-precious material, or it will go into mineral product. If you only refer to the chapter heading, you can say, yeah, gold is a base metal or gold is a mineral product. But legally, it will fall into the chapter 7108. This is how it is. So if you look at why this, it is told as reference purpose, this is clear from this example, that just don't think that this material, it is a base metal, so it will fall into this chapter, or it is a, the another example is that the potato seeds, other things will go into 0701, and frozen potato chips. You will always feel that no, potato chips may come into the along with that, but they go into the chapter, different chapter completely. So you cannot refer to the only reference heading and think that my material will fall into this, because it is you need to go into detail. Then there are case laws which helps you. So what happened is that we've seen that the custom officer raised a lot of issues. Then there are few important case laws in classification which you need to know, or you need to provide them so that they are aware. As I mentioned, you are able to tell them that this refer note 2A or to note B or 2C. Similarly, some classification case laws which are there, which gives you supporting when you are discussing with a custom officer. So for example, this case gives rule 1 gives primacy to section. And one more important thing is that these bold cases, bold cases, which are very prominent. And on that there is a lot of dispute which are there. The bolts sometimes are, for example, some parts are very specially designed. So this is a case law that this bolt was for car, and how to classify that. And here, this bolt was very special. This bolt was very special. This was oil bolt. So this bolt has, it will remain longer. So the oil bolt was the length so that it could permit the passage of fluid. The dispute, but finally the which was there. The court therefore found the ruling over Honda was consistent and its previous treatment of similar article and specialized bolts were classified under 7318 as a bolt. So you have some items which are very specifically designed. Some of the items are laws which are there. Another way that Supreme Court given or some in between, you will see that case of because of that case, other people start. Yeah. So the part and particularly all items of iron and steel, which is there. So you will have a section note, which is helping you out throughout the tariff schedule, the expression of parts of general use. So why that section notes and other things are important? Because whether the parts were to be classified. Sorry. Is also given into that chapter section notes. So why section notes become important? Because there are some parts which where it will be, and this is because of this parts of general use, all that it also classified as general iron and steel. Important to see these section notes and parts of general use. Explanatory, I will skip something. Yeah. So the rule 1, if you look at, we would have taken the highest time in rule 1, because as you go up, you will find the utilization of other rules is less and less. What a lot of things get settled into rule 1 and 2, and other rules. So rule 1 resolves the heading. There is only one heading whose term encompasses whole goods, or the terms or notes direct the classification to a specific heading. The terms of notes direct. So when when these three things are clear, you are able to classify the goods properly. Otherwise, if the rule 1 is not solving your problem with heading or with notes, or then you need to go to rule 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. Of course, there are some again exceptions, and these exceptions becomes always disputed point. So the items, for example, this surgical cat good heading applies to the Y item is having 2 functions, but still it will be going under rule 1. There are some items. So when items are having more functions, but still rule 1, this is specifically clarified in note 4 for chapter 30 that this item should be classified here and here itself. So you are able to classify it into this thing. Now, for example, this is a very classic example, easy to understand. Travel sewing kit for personal, having a lot of items into that. It is a rule which has got mix of items. So if it is mix of item, then it should go to the rule 3, that it is combination of something. But it is specifically heading 9601. So with rule 1 only, it clarifies your classification. So if that's why what happens, most of the things which get closed into rule 1, you don't have to go to other rules. So there are specific classification. So this sewing kit is an example where each item is separate. You have some scissor there, you have some thing, all which are differently classified. So technically you should go to rule 2 or 3, but you don't do that because it is clarified in 9605 that there is a travel sewing kit. So you will classify it here. Same way was earlier that this surgical cat good, whether you go with which material or how it will go. But with note, you are able to classify it at the right place. So travel sewing kit. Then the rule 2, which is there, it is again in 2 parts. And what is rule 2 says that if the products which are not classified in 1, because they are incomplete, unfinished, unassembled, or disassembled, mixed of made of multiple material, then you go to the rule 2. See, in rule 1 we saw heading and description was matching. Motor, very clear motor, or pump, very clear pump, turbine, whatever it is, it was perfectly matching and it was fully coming into. So motor was, now when the parts are incomplete, unfinished, you are very clear that what has come is the unassembled motor, or what happens. Then you go to rule 2. Again, the rule 2, we break it into two parts. One is incomplete or unfinished, or unassembled or disassembled, two parts. So the part 1 is any reference in heading to the article shall be taken into include reference to that article, incomplete or unfinished, provided that at presented the incomplete or unfinished article as essential character of complete or finished article. So 2-3 words in each line are very important, whether that article is incomplete or it is unfinished, and it has got essential characteristics. So when you look at, you need to see the thing. And second, it is unassembled or disassembled. Examples will clarify. Now, car imports, who is doing any car importer? Anybody handling car? So if you look at unfinished good, the car, when it comes, you import the car without tire, but it is still a car. So it will be having the essential characteristic of car, you will create that. Or another example is the crankshaft. Now you are importing unfinished crankshaft, and then you will do machining in India. But still it will be crankshaft. From crankshaft, you will not be able to create some bearing or any other things. Then unfinished goods which has had essential character, because crankshaft has got unique shape, unique casing. You do machining, it will remain the crankshaft. You get a car, it is a car, it has got engine, it has got many things. It is without tire, or it is without glasses, it is without seats, but still it is a car. It is essential. Then, of course, what is essential character? There are always issues, but these are the simple example which are. Then you can see assembled or dismantled. Now you get a CKD. So 2 examples are that you get an unassembled cycle. Here you bring it and you assemble it. So still it will be classified. Or you get a car in knockdown condition and you are going to assemble it. Still it will be car in CKD condition. Or furniture, wooden panels. You cannot bring a cabin assembled from abroad. So you dismantle it, bring it here. Then it becomes, still you will call it as a furniture. You will bring sofa, or how IKEA or everybody is bringing, they give a separate top, everything, but still it is a table. So these are the example. Even if there are few parts missing. Now, for example, I am getting this furniture, but probably I will use the Indian screws, but still it is a table. Or I am getting a car, but tires I will buy in India, still it is the car. So few parts are missing, function is not issue, the classification will be of finished good. So this is how the rule 2A comes. Now disassembled goods. Now you have assembled the goods. Say for example, in big project, what you have boiler, you have connected everything. For testing, you have assembled everything. But you cannot ship boiler with its all piping and other things. So what you do, you will dismantle piping, you will dismantle its motor, you will dismantle something of that, and you will send it. So disassembled boiler will be classified as boiler, or there is an electrical panel along with boiler, or there is a compressor. Compressor has got a motor connected with that, piping, or electrical panel is with that. Then it becomes that you do manufacture it, test is, your supplier is ready, happy. Then while shipping it, you cannot ship it with piping. Then you dismantle it. So disassembled goods or disassembled goods having things, still the classification will be of the finished product. So this is what is going to happen in this rule 2. Then another example is the PVC doors and windows. You are importing, but again, they cannot be brought into the windows form. So you will get into the channels, you will get into various items, and then you will do assembly at the site. And then there are judgment for that. So if there is any dispute, such judgment helps. How to use this judgment and how to keep track, we will see at later. But this is a very clear interpretation that some goods will come into the disassembled form, but their classification will remain as the main good. Or there are some packing or some plastic items which are there, which will change their shapes at later. Again, they will be classified with a similar way, that you are going to change it shape, or you are going to add on to that some labels, etc. Or tubular form, you will going to change it, it will remain. So if you look at 2A, heading refers to a finished or complete goods, which we saw into earlier. Then it is incomplete or unfinished form, or it is unassembled or dismantled form. Then it shall be classified under the same heading if goods have the essential characteristic of finished goods. This is how the rule 2A comes, and these are the examples which are there, material coming in CKD. Words, unassembled, disassembled, what is done. So this is important, that you are able to clarify that what is essential character. How you can do that? You will go back to the importer. He will be able to, his technical person will be able to explain you, yes, this is essential character. It will work without that, or it will not work without that. This is what is the essential character. If you say that it will not work, then you will not have be able to classify that. Then 2B, now it starts little different into the classification. The 2B rule says that any reference in heading or material substance shall be taken to include the mixtures or combination of material. So what happens is that there is some combination of material, but rule 2B do not classify the item on its own. We saw rule 1 classify item, rule 2A, we are able to classify items. We went back. So what we did, you found unassembled car, you went back to classification of assembled car and classify that. But where there is a combination, you are not able to classify. You found that I cannot classify. Then from 2B, you go to rule 3. So rule 3 will be used if there is a combination or mixture, and you cannot go to one heading. Now, what is that will happen now? Look at, you have examples. With example, it is much clear. You have a milk in which some vitamin is put. Now, you will classify that as a vitamin, you will classify as a milk, or stainless steel mug with plastic handle and cover. Both are 50-50% or 45-55. Then whether you will call stainless steel mug or you will call a plastic mug, because both are same. Or cereals with nuts and raisins. So whether it is dry fruit or whether it is nuts, which one you will classify. So when you are not sure, because you cannot give one heading. Can milk with vitamin is a heading? It is not there. Or is there any heading into tariff where there is stainless steel mug with plastic handle? It's not there. Then you cannot go back to the main classification. You cannot go back. So you will go to rule 3 and see how to classify them. Or similar way, you have the items. Now these are very item. You have the copper coating down, or your copper layer down, or your steel up. Then where you will classify that. So you have two this thing. For same way, if it is iron and steel, 50%, it will go into 73 chapter. Or if it is a copper, it will go into 74 chapter, which is again percentage will vary. So what you do, or similarly, various essence or some of the items which have got perfume, mixture of two items. One is some flavor is added into that. Then the rule 3. In rule 3, most specific description shall prefer to the heading provided and more general description. However, when two or more heading each refer to a part only by material or substances contained in mix or composite, or to the part only of the items in a set put up for retail sale, those headings are to be regarded as equally specific in relation to those goods, even if one of them gives more complete or precise description. So in simple word, you go for a most specific description. And what is most specific description? See, the beauty is that when you use such word, most specific, you have clarification now comes explanatory note. So there is an explanation given. So here, what is most specific is description by name as taken as more specific than description by class. So the class is copper items or what is there, but description by name is much more important. Description which is more narrowly defines the goods or taken as more specific than broader description. So you have using explanatory notes now to classify that. So at each time, what you will use, where you will use section notes, GR rules, and the notes becomes important. Now, this is a item. Maybe you are clear, electric shaver. Tools for working in hand, pneumatic, hydraulic, or with self-contained electrical motor or non-electrical motor will go in 84. So this is tools working in hand. Yes, it is used for in hand for shaving. It has got electrical motor. Then 8509 electromechanical appliance contain electric motor. And says it is electromechanical, there are some mechanical parts, it is electrical. And the 8510 shaver, hair clippers, and hair removing appliances with self-contained electric motor. So this is a combination of you have electrical motor in that, then you have some blades, it's cutting. So where it will go? 8510. Yeah, why? More specific name, function. Yeah. Yeah. So if we look at what we have seen is that we go back to description by name, which is more specific, and hence we have selected that you will never call shaver as I'm working a tool in hand. You will never call that. You will say I will be using shaver, which is the most easy to understand. You will not call that it is a domestic appliances with electrical motor. You will call it shaver. So shaver entry is much more suitable for that. And this is how the rule 3 is applied. Now, again, the rear mirror, this is this thing. So 8708 says part and accessories of the motor vehicle, so and so, so and so. And 7009 says glass mirror, whether not frame, including rear view mirror. So now, where to classify this? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So what happened is that because including rear view glass mirror, whether or not frame, it is given more specific than parts, because the car part can be engine, crankshaft also, which is general description as a spare part of car, but this is more specific. So we have gone with a glass mirrors. Now, there is one more example, carpet and other textile things. So in car, you have a carpet, which is specially designed with shapes, contours, etc. Then again, there you have now two choices, and of course, cable, four. So first example, where it will go, this carpet in car. Huh? Earlier we saw what was there here, and now we are having 8708. Yeah. No. Yeah. See, it is designed so it becomes, this has got some contour, it has got some cutouts, it cannot be put on here. So it has gone as a part there. Yeah. Specifically, it is designed. Yeah. Now, what happened is that what you are going to describe that it is a mug. Stainless steel mug is easier, or plastic mug is easier based on. So what happened is that which content is more, you will classify into that, whether it is you want to call it stainless steel is a little more, then you can classify it there. So table, kitchen, spoon, forks, it will go into that. It is a articles of iron, not in iron, articles of iron and steel, but it will go as a spoon, fork, etc., which is there. Now, again, example of a seat and seats of kind for motor vehicles. So it will go into the 9401. So there are, with some similar item, there is always a could be some confusion. So you have to be very careful when you use this. But this rule will solve these problems. And these are more disputed items. So people can take objection on very easily on that. That I will classify as and when the duties are different, the problem which comes again and again, that the importer will say it is a part of car because it has got lower duty. Where the lower duty, people will try to classify you, tell you to classify there. But as a customer will always look at where it is a higher, whether it is both will many times will try to avoid the situation. Importer will like to classify it lower, but which is very risky. So as I mentioned, that you need to classify part rightly, and then look at the duty, what is there applicable. You should not go with a classifying item trying to fit it in 0 or 5% instead of 7.5%. Now the mixture, two part, 3B, the mixture which is there, the composite mixture, different material. When here it is very simple. The rule must be, it is when you put it for a cell, how you are putting it that way. Then the essential character, as we see, the essential character of the whole can be identified as provided by material or components of good. We'll keep that. Now, if you look at how it has been 3B, how it is sold at retail sale. Now, if example is that you have a pencil with a rubber, it is sold as a pencil, not as an eraser. So it will go into pencil. Then you have a bed sheet with pillow cover, quilt, but still you will call it as a bed sheet. Or speakers with FM, USB, it will be still a multimedia speaker. So with 3B, which you have seen how it is sold at retail sale, monitoring system, paper monitoring systems. So all these are connected with your HS classification, and you can miss something on that. Your in exports, your drawbacks are related with that. So classification is important. Your classification is wrong, your drawback percentage will go wrong. Road tape, similarly, if classification is wrong, road tape percentage will go different. Then the SCOMET, important.
Was started in the last 10 minutes of this.
Okay. Okay.
So this was after this, I think this all is fine. But you know, when you started off before this, the food thing, from the food, from the project.
Okay.
This one.
This is, yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you. Sorry.
Yeah. So what happened? We were looking at the rule 3C. When the items cannot be classified with 3A or B, they shall be classified under the heading which occurs last in numerical order among those which equally merit consideration. So you have many classification, then you will go to last occurring, and this is a good example that you are having a lot of items are now bought into the mix purpose. So you have a wheat with 10.01, barley 10.03, then the maca 10.05, rice. The last classification is 10.08. So we will classify that whole into the 10.08. And similarly, lot many mixtures come. So the one which will numerically come last as per HS classification, which will be we will be classifying. So rule 4 and 6, I think we will not wait because again the rule 4 is hardly used, which is something similar to that when there is no classification, and this is only example which I have found. Otherwise, we are also having very little examples. You have a jack, air jack, which is coming. So from car's exhaust, you are picking up gas to use as a jack. So where it is classified. So this is, you will use some similar classification for that. Then rule 5, you have items which are packed into specially designed packing, the camera, the musical instrument, so that they will not get damaged. And then they are specially purposed into or arms or ammunition or jewelry boxes, etc. So these are the examples. And last point on that was that if the items covering particularly is of higher value, say silver tray, etc., then it will be classified into the as a silver tray and not as a dry fruit or something like that. Rule 6, as I said, that we will not really dwell upon. The rule 6 helps into classification, which are really rarely been used. So nobody, I mean, I have not used it for the last 40 years, or nobody I came across who will say I have used it. So this is not was not going into next slide.
So just reset the things also. 1 minute. Reset for device reset.
You are resetting. So maybe anytime you are use the rule 3, or you are doing classification but not knowing it is under rule 3 or how it is. Because these items are being definitely imported on a regular basis. Yeah.
You were saying something about
I know that I keep on doing this so that it. Okay, yeah, so we were here. So if you look at another point is the SCOMET, which is very important. You must be for exports also signing SCOMET declaration. So the SCOMET, which is export control, that which items you cannot export. So classification becoming important. If your classification is wrong, the item is unrestricted, then you could be in trouble. So similarly, BIS, your classification again is linked to the, even though HS classification, the IS standards are different classification, but custom system has linked already, so that if your HS classification is there, it says that check the BIS, etc. So you need to do. Then what are items which are free? There are some items which are restricted for imports. All that comes, or free trade agreements benefit. So if you look at as a whole, classification becomes very important. Anything wrong into classification, you have monetary issues which are coming. These are all monetary issues. And another part is legal issues which comes, which could be misdeclaration, wrong interpretation, at later adjudication, etc. Yeah. So very important that classification you need to follow very clearly. Custom Tariff Act, you are all aware, basic duty, which section, which is there, additional duty, section 3, safeguard duty, etc. So I won't dwell upon that. So export classification, it gets replicated from the imports itself. This thing you can have the similar way schedule, chapter heading, etc. Only as per the first schedule, but you have a export tariff which is differently coming in a different way. Then the DGFT. And that you, when you are classifying any parts, you need to have proper part number, item code, description, its trade name, model number, product catalog, write-up, information where product is used, capital item, whether it is part or whether accessory, drawing, then material safety data sheet, test report, chemical composition. So if you are doing a new part classification, then You need to have maximum details out of this. Otherwise, you will not be able to do properly. So it's very important that you tell your importer that I need these items. Of course, some may not be applicable. Somewhere chemical composition may not be applicable, but test reports will be there. Or if it is metal item composition certificate, then you will look into the HS guidelines, common parlance, essential characteristics, which we have seen all details to classify the items. And this is what, if you look at the flow, that customs rule, tariff check, explanatory note, customs circular check, case laws, and if required, you go to some expert to classify that. But more and more, if you look into the rules, regulation, and read all notes, chapter notes, section notes, subheading notes, supplementary notes, you will have less and less. And as we have seen, you will have classification issues coming only in 5 or 10% items, in which if you focus, you will be able to do many things. Then there are definitely many softwares which companies provide to do classification softwares. If you try that, it takes also a lot of times and not really still matured, but we know with IT, tomorrow this will come. Classification will be done by the software. So this is important. Custom portal has got classification search, which could be also used as a basis. GST portal has got a classification portal. WCO site has got artificial intelligence, which can be also used. But why we don't do classification on time? One, lack of time. This is the most reason. Everything comes at urgent. You have no time. Already invoices are there. You have to file the bill of entry today. If you don't file, 5,000 rupees is gone. So you put something and let it go. This is what happened. So lack of time, not at only your end, but your importer has no time, custom has no time, custom broker has got no time. Everybody is in urgent. You want to save demurrage, you want to save late files, you do whatever classification you want. That's the whole problem. Lack of resources. I don't have manpower. I will do clearance. I will file, do classification, or I will clear the consignment, or I will go to CFS. You will not do proper classification. Lack of knowledge. So this is very important, where you can still do. If you are knowing the rules, if you are knowing, then you are able to do much better. Then lack of information, lack of tools, probably you don't have information, lack of experience. Then alerts, sometimes you will not have alert. Data is not available from your importers. Incomplete invoices, or some description not coming, or description is in Chinese language or in other language, then you have problems. So, or there are new regulation came, new case studies, case laws came, but you could not see that. So there are then some classification somebody else is doing, let's do that into that. Your importer is telling, do this, you will do, which is not a good. As I mentioned, you need to stick to what is right classification only. People do Google search and put a classification. That is also not really right way to do that. Assume that some specification, you don't have specification sheet, but you assume that this item is of aluminum or this item is of there, and you will classify that. Lack of track of circulars, which is important. So if you look at custom brokers, now Dushyant is sitting here, I will tell you that if you want any case studies, so you need to have your own this thing. You need not depend on somebody. You need to have, okay, I am handling this 20 classification. I have all notification notes that to keep that. Okay, most important thing is that you need to collaborate. You need to understand the importer, give him the right, what, go to his technical person, because importer person may also be not technical person. He has to go inside his company, go to technical. So that you need to do documents, automate, share. So there are few things. One is the classification. You need to keep that expertise with developing at your end, so that you are really, so many companies have got classification officer. His job is day in and day out, do only classification. So in custom broker, you will have multiple listing, but still you need to have that specialization in classification. Then when most important is you come with new customer. This is where you can go wrong. New part and new customer was doing earlier. So you take new customer, but he was doing something else. He was not classifying properly. Who is his database? Is there a dispute with that classification? The missing, there are violations, new customer and new classification, new parts. You have to be very careful when you take anything into account. Then this you can maintain. It's called jury. What are the important judgment, and you pick it out of that judgment. What are the important sentence out of that? So this, if you keep it with you or you collect on your own, then it becomes very important. You are able to tell custom officer that look at this judgment, look at this judgment. So you have to create such a job. And then there are a lot of cases which are there, which are famous. But this case you must read sometimes on mobile, how you watch movies or how you, maybe if you read one case study, even if every week, you will have a lot of insight of that. And then you are coming, what is happening in industry to keep that. So part, lot of disturbance, but we are still on track. So Dushyant. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening to us patiently, and for all of you who are here. Thank you very much. We apologize for the inconvenience. This is one of those rare occasions, but like we say in the logistics industry, we are always on our feet and we have to think and we have to find solutions for it. So, and we thank everybody who stayed back with us online while we were trying to resolve the issue with electricity and the net. We would now like to request our President, Shri Dushyant Mulani, to please say a few words. And Dr. Sant, fabulous presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good afternoon, friends. Thank you for attending in such large numbers. Besides all of you, we have in on hybrid mode also. So on behalf of entire BCBA and all of you, my request that first I would like to felicitate Shri Pramod Sant for taking his valuable time out. And Dr. Sir, you've been really a big help to BCBA. And on behalf of BCBA, we would like to present you a bouquet of flowers. Vinayji, Chaitali, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, thanks to our entire team, Sanjeev Varale, Dr. Neerav, Tej Contractor, entire arrangements and everything spearheaded by Vinayakji, Sanjay Shingo and Paji. Thank you for Zalai. दो दिन कहना चाहूंगा, इतना बड़ा प्रेजेंटेशन सर दिया है में नहीं तो 25 से 26 केसेस हम लोग को रेफर हुए हैं. कस्टम ब्रोकर नोटिस आया था, DRA इंक्वायरी है, NCTC अलर्ट है. पॉइंट है, जैसा सर ने बताया, अपने क्लाइंट के पास इवन राइटिंग में पूरी चीज ले लो, अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट द प्रोडक्ट इज, अंडरस्टैंड अगर आप एग्जम्पशन ले रहे हो वेदर वो वैलिड है कि नहीं है. नेक्स्ट उसका अगर कुछ डाउट है तो एक राइटअप और कवरिंग लेटर आप लेके क्लासिफाई द आइटम एज पर द इनवॉइस ओनली. माइक्रोफोन है बट ये फ्लावर जैसा दिख रहा है, नेवर. जो आइटम है वही डिक्लेयर करेगा. सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट ने भी जैसा हाईलाइट था कि जो अगर इफ यू डिस्क्रिटा एज पर इनवॉइस प्रोवाइडेड बाय द इंपोर्टर, custom brokers are not responsible for any misdeclaration if found later on in the, because custom broker ने सही तरह से बजाई है by classifying the product, describing the product correctly as per the information available. Catalog, write up, technical details, material, जो भी लेना है लेके रखिएगा, but do not venture out for anything. सर का प्रेजेंटेशन जो है अपने ऑफिस में हर एक के साथ शेयर करिएगा. डाउट है सर का नंबर भी अपना ट्रेनिंग टीम भी करेंगे, बट एक बूंद भी उसके अंदर गैप मत छोड़ना, बिकॉज इंक्रीजिंग द रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटीज, पोस्ट क्लियरेंस ऑडिट, एंड कई 5 से 6 केसेस अभी ऐसे है कि पोस्ट क्लियरेंस कस्टम ब्रोकर को सर बताया है कि who told you to classify in this manner? Means one can understand clear, but वो बोला मैंने तो क्लासिफाई करने को बोला ही नहीं था. ऐसे कहा गया ड्यूटी डिफरेंस किधर दे रहा है तो बोला इंटरेस्ट क्यों पे करो. तो ये सब किससे बाहर आ रहे हैं. मेक योर साइड लीगली taking all the declarations. We will be sharing those checklists as proposed by Dr. Pramod Sant sir. That will be very valuable takeaway. And हमें इस तरह से आगे बढ़ना है. कोई डाउट है तो पूछेगा. आपके ऑफिस में भी कुछ डाउट है, our team will clarify everything. सर ने जो पावर पॉइंट दिया है, that is a very valid and पॉइंट्स कवर किए गए. कारोटार का ऊपर अभी अपना है सर ओवरव्यू. मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है, ऑलरेडी हेड बनने आया है सर, बट वी विल कंटिन्यू द कारोटार सेशन अगेन, बिकॉज कारोटार बाय इटसेल्फ इज अ वेरी, बट आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट एक ओवरव्यू देके वी कैन टाइमिंग पार्टली कंक्लूड this again within a week after Ganpati, because CAROTAR is a very important thing. So we'll request your input for CAROTAR thoroughly again in detail also. So I'll give it on behalf of all of us to Sansar. A big applause to Sansar.
Thanks. So go ahead also. Yeah, I'll just conclude. And now what Dushyant ji said, very important. See, and this facility, as I started in beginning, very nice facility where we need to use slides. The idea is we have to generate a bank of questions. Now, what checklist? That is what we have to generate. Now, everybody problems. Maybe you will tell me right now, or you will tell afterward that this is not answered. This needs. So this also to BCBA, Vinayak is or Chaitali, we want to create that question FAQ bank actually, so that you are able to refer that accepting. I tell rule, still he is not doing that, what I should do. So we want to make that question bank and answer list. It will be very helpful. Presentation will be with you. You will see that, you will read. So 2-3 things from my side, very important. Will only give some part, but finally you need to read chapters, you need to read notes, you need to read explanatory notes. Without that, there is no way out. Second is this question we will collect, we will find out how to collect, so that we are able to address in more scientific way to reply them. And the third thing is, the fact is, as I mentioned again and again, don't look at duty first and then classify. Classify the product right where it stands. If importer is wrong, you have to tell him he is wrong from importer side. But if importer is wrong, you have to tell your classification is wrong. This is the way it needs to be done, because today or tomorrow it comes out. We have with artificial intelligence, 2 seconds customer is able to see these items, what ABB is classifying, and is classifying, why there are differences in that. This data comes instantaneously. Within your own importer side, they are able to find out this importer is classifying this item at Chennai differently, Mumbai differently. It comes in 1 second. So custom has got huge data, which will be used in post audit, or it will be used by DRI, it will be used by all. So fact is, you need to be having more control and more look into that, because with artificial intelligence for them, it is much easier to find out same item, same part number classified differently, or this description somebody is classifying differently. So you need to be absolutely clear that this is the need way these classifications should be done. And these questions we will see how to collect. We will have that. Yeah, great. That's good. Yeah. So maybe that questions we will take.
सर ये सारे पार्टिसिपेंट के बिहाफ में मैं रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ कि अगर एसोसिएशन के तौर पे ये सारी ट्रेनिंग, अभी ये तीसरा या चौथा कोर्स है जहाँ पे ये ट्रेनिंग ली जाती है, तो हम लोग यहाँ पे अनाउंस कर रहे हैं कि आगे से या आज से जो भी यहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग करके जा रहा है तो उनको सर्टिफिकेट इश्यू होगा, और ये सर्टिफिकेट आगे आने वाले दिनों में एईओ और ये जो सर्टिफिकेशन हम लोग एईओ एलओ में सर्टिफिकेट जब भी अप्लाई करते हैं में भी तभी अथॉरिटीज पूछती है कि आपने कहाँ से ट्रेनिंग की है। तो हम लोग अभी एसोसिएशन से ये ट्रेनिंग कोर्स मिल जाएगा। तो सबको रिक्वेस्ट है कि आपका फोन नंबर और आपके मेल एड्रेस यहाँ पे डिटेल में दे दो, तो फिर उसमें कम्युनिकेशन करके हम लोग कम्युनिकेट करके आपको वो हैंड ओवर कर देंगे। ओके ओके, थैंक यू।
Going back.
Once CAROTAR is concluded, then we can.
Okay. आप लोगों के लिए यहाँ अगर आपके पास क्लासिफिकेशन के लिए कोई भी क्वेश्चंस है, तो जब हम लोग Q&A चालू करेंगे सर के साथ कैरोटार के सेशन के बाद, तब प्लीज आपके Q&A दीजिएगा। For all of you who are online, we have taken the couple of questions that we have received. If you have questions on CAROTAR also, once Dr. Sant finishes off, then please put in your questions. And over and above this, if you still have questions to the mentioning today's session and also mentioning whether it is related to CAROTAR or it is related to HS codes classification. Like Mr. President has announced, we will be doing an in-depth session on CAROTAR. So we would appreciate if we get questions on classification, and we will get Dr. Sant to answer all of them. Dr. Saab, we will be sending you an email with all the questions that are there that we may not be able to answer today. And then once you reply to that, we will circulate it to all the members. And for everybody asking, the PPT that Dr. Sant has used, we will be sharing. So the recording is going to be posted online to the BCBA YouTube channel. It may take a little time because of technology and stuff like that, but we will make sure that it is there. And thank you very much once again. Dr. Sat, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So when we thought that we have two topics, first we thought we will have classification half a day and CAROTAR half a day. Then we found that people have to clear consignment also in evening. They have a lot of this thing. So then we shared. But the fact is, classification itself, when it is in that, otherwise classification training for a organization, or when I do, it is virtually a 2-day where people are able to do. So roughly first day 5 hours, next day of accepting also. So then when I was looking into CAROTAR subject into like classification, and which is having important, so alone CAROTAR cannot be explained. So there are few things which are there, like free trade agreement. So what we will do, we will only keep 15 minutes. I will give overview. Then most important is that you are able to give more questions, so we are able to make practical session, and not the answer like verbally, but we are able to say, no, this is how question has come, this is how we are able to answer the okay. So CAROTAR is a one which is only an outcome of something which is there, and the main topic is free trade agreement. So the free trade agreement is a topic which is very important, because of which you have now coming CAROTAR as a subset of that. What happened? Free trade agreement globally, it is increasing. Not many countries making the free trade agreement, and they are coming closer. So what happened is that free trade agreement, where the two countries come together, two countries come together to have the this keep on going into. Okay. Maybe this works. So. Okay. Trade agreement, where many free trade agreements which are there. So unilateral free trade agreement, bilateral, regional and multilateral. So unilateral is the country gives concessions to some countries directly without asking them. So for example, underdeveloped countries. So India decided that these countries, we give concessions. Something is coming from their country, we will have less duty. So which is unilateral. I don't have to discuss with that country. That country were bilateral, where both the people agreed to each other. So there are two countries which comes together. Now example is India, UAE, which is a recently done. So two countries bilateral, दोन country एकत्र आले, त्यांनी decide केलं, and they made a free trade agreement. Regional, it is Southeast Asia, Asian or RCEP. These are the which are in the region. So lot many countries in that region came together and made a contract, made a free trade agreement. And multilateral is the countries which are come from different geographies and made the free trade agreement. So these are the types of free trade agreement which are there. Now comes one more type is you will see we use the word free trade agreement casually as a normal, but there are various types. One is a preferential trade agreement, free trade agreement, SEPA, CA, custom union, custom market, common market, and economic union. So these are different terminology. PTA is on the lowest of it, and FTA or economic union. Everybody know European Union, which is a common, where they have common currency. Your people are able to move from one country to another country for jobs. They are able to import it without free. There is only one customs which is there, so which is extreme. But another is the free trade agreement. The difference in the PTA and FTA is that you have a different list. So FTA has got more scope, which is there. And in free trade agreements, which you keep as a negative list, that on which we cannot give some concession. And in preferential trade, where positive list is there, on which the duty is being reduced. So PTA is at the lowest of it. FTA is little more. In SEPA, you have include many more things than good. E-commerce, IPR, how the investment will happen, etc. will come in SEPA and all. So we need to understand what is there, and this is how it will look, that PTA is at the lowest, whereas after that FTA, then SEPA, custom union or common market will come into that. Then India, what we have agreements and lot many are coming. You have unilateral duty free, which is there with also some countries which are mostly less developed countries. Then you have bilateral agreement, India, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, which is the oldest, came from 1950. And similarly, the regional agreement, India, ASEAN, ACTA, SAFTA, or Latin American contract. And there are many more which are coming in negotiation. So India is at the moment, every time you will see news that India, Canada free trade agreement was under discussion, which is now put on a hold. Or with UK, it goes a little faster, then something happens, then again it takes its own speed. So you have many under negotiation. So this is going to be a very important area of free trade agreement. Has anybody seen any free trade agreement actually? Anybody has seen free trade agreement script, like how you read notification? Have you seen free trade agreement? Because free trade agreement is available in public domain. You can Google it, you will get a PDF. Any idea how big will be the free trade agreement? How many notifications are how many pages? 1 page, 2 page, 10 page, 15 page, 4 pages, some 10, 15 pages. What could be the size of free trade agreement documentation? 30 to 40. It's closely, or it is always about 1,000 pages. For example, India, Korea, 1,263 pages, which is the quantum of what is written in there. So it's very difficult to read, or we have to yet to find really who people have read it and they know which page what is there. But out of that, we have to make a sense what needs to be seen. So it is a very big topic actually, not taken so seriously. It has got many benefits which are there, and few things which comes into, only people look at it from one angle. Okay, I am going to get goods, I will have lower duty, I am going to send it. But free trade agreements are used for import as well as exports. So import is very clear. You get it material from Thailand, you have lower duty. You get it from Korea, Japan, you have lower duty on these items. Very simple. But the same way, exporters, they don't push so much free trade agreement. That means if I am able to send, I am participating in some tender in Korea. If this material is covered in free trade agreement, then who is buying in Korea will not have any duty on that. So maybe if the Korea is not having a free trade agreement with other country, if the material comes, just let us say, of course, Korea has got highest number of free trade agreement, but let's just say they are getting goods from USA and then there is a duty. If in same goods they come bring it from India, there will not be a duty. So we become cheaper. So exporter need to use this facility to make their good competitive, tell that customer. So it is a combination. You have free trade agreement, you send the goods, there is no duty. If you are AEO, again, your clearance in that country becomes simpler. So your goods become cheaper. This is very important that this combination become important. But in today's world, the most complicated thing is that no part is produced in that country in totality. Everywhere you will see that the material is brought from different countries with different. There are maybe very few things which are from originally only from that country. If you look at mobile, even though maybe it is made in China or India, the material comes from close to 50 to 100 countries and different suppliers. So the material is coming from somewhere else. It is going for processing into some other countries. It is assembled in third country and it is sold globally. Then how to handle free trade agreement is a very important topic. And if you don't claim free trade agreement, you are at loss because you will pay a higher duty. You will not become a competitive. The domestic supplier will become cheaper. Your imported material will be costlier. If you claim incorrectly free trade agreements benefit, then your status will get affected. You may not be allowed to export, or you're not able to import. You will have penalties, delays, etc., etc. So advantage, disadvantage, both are there. But now, over a period of time, India, when they did first free trade agreements, which we saw, it was done in a hurry or it was not done with right data. Even though intentions may be good, but we were not having data that from this country I import this, how much I export from this country, so much data was not there. So most of the free trade agreement, we are on having negative. That means our imports from that country is higher and our exports to that countries are lower. Now, if you look at Korea, Japan, our import from there is very high and our export to that countries is lower. So finally, we are at having the trade balance issues in free trade agreement. So when this new government came from 14, they were always debating that even though it is there, we did after 2014, first time agreement came into 2022, which is there. They took a long time to discuss, have good conditions. So hopefully the new free trade agreements will be much better this thing. And why? Another point is that these free trade agreements are misused. And if you see so many which are paper headline, which are come, the people have misused the free trade agreement. The material is coming from, let's say, Thailand or somewhere, which is covered, but actually it is goods of Chinese origin. They are just routed through Thailand or they are just routed through some other country. Then people have not looked into the really how much value it is coming from which country. There are cases of people fined for 485 crore to that extent. So people have misused that. This was in government. So government was very cautious. And then what they did is in 2020, in order to stop this misuse, they came with a CAROTAR. So which has got background. So the background is free trade agreement, which was there, but free trade agreements was not helping country. People were misusing that. So CAROTAR was bought, and then the new section 28D came into the picture, and that's how the CAROTAR was implemented. And CAROTAR has got few important characteristics. One is a custom act. So finance bill help in finance bill it was included. So you change the custom act to put this new clauses, and then you have notifications by which you are able to implement the CAROTAR procedure, which we are there. So the very important thing is that the CAROTAR rule, we feel that it is obstruction. People are having difficulties. People are not able to explain. People have to give undertaking. People are doing provisional passing. People have to give bank guarantees, etc. All that happened because of the misuse. Government wanted to find out the way in which they can stop. So CAROTAR rule came. And if you look at these 4 notifications which are main, other than that, how to use the QR code, how to deface, there are few more notifications which are there. But this 81 notification, which is the most important thing. And then they found, okay, for example, for AU was not having bank guarantee. So if AU is importing the material under free trade agreement, then easy have to give bank guarantee. Then they have modified AU rules that AU also need to give a bank guarantee if he is CAROTAR for CAROTAR. So these are the few acts which was very important. And the CAROTAR. So what happened is that another point is, for example, the people are having some goods which are coming, which are the material is coming from different countries. Then importer was not having any right also to ask any information. So importer what says that, okay, as per free trade agreement, I am supposed to get a certificate of origin, and that is given by authority in that country, and I am happy on that. He has got nothing. But on the contrary, when government tried to do verification of that, they found that this certificate was based on part information or information which was inaccurate, or it was fraudulent. So they said that as an importer, you need to know whether these goods are really made in Korea, or whether these goods are really made in Japan, or where are the goods made. So for that, you need to collect the data, and they made an importer responsible. They made an importer responsible in such a way that just giving the certificate of origin is not the answer. The certificate of origin or certificate under free trade agreement is only one paper, but you need to have this data, and that's what come into CAROTAR rules. So if you look at guideline rules of origin, which is the subject by itself, the importer to do due diligence before importing the goods. So earlier what we were doing, material is coming from Thailand, you tell supplier that I want certificate, he gives you certificate, you get original, you submit it to customs, you are through. You are not bothered whether the goods are really made in Thailand or it is really made in Korea. That was a problem. Now they are telling importer, you are responsible whether it is really made in Thailand or whether it is made in Korea. You collect the data in this prescribed form, which is a CAROTAR. This is what it changed. And then you need to ask him. You need to ask him in specific format. You need to have it beforehand, etc. All that stuff which is written into CAROTAR. The last sentence is very important. Merely a country of origin certificate issued by notified agency in country of export was sufficient to avail the benefit of FTA, which is now changed completely. Certificate of origin become only one of the document in addition to the data which we have. So after this slide, we will stop because then it goes into really deep. There are two parts which we need to look. The wholly obtained goods. So what happens? Some items you are 100% sure that they are made in that country. So if you are an iron ore which is coming in Goa, you are extracting iron ore from Goa, or you are extracting coal from some mines into India or something. These are very clearly known that they have come from Goa or in mine. Similarly, there are, let us say, some fruit farm items. Yeah, pomegranates are coming, or the mangoes are coming from Konkan. We are very clear. There is no dispute on that. They are wholly made in India. They can be clearly identified. Very easy. Similarly, some sea items, fish and other things, which we are very clear that it is kept into the western side, or some are available on east coast, which is there, or some type of scrap which is generated in your country, which is very clear. So these are simplest item. If they are covered into, you are able to tell, okay, look, this mango, they are coming from Konkan, very clear. So you don't have any dispute with whether they are coming from India or somewhere. Because what happened in overpass, lot many people, they bought, for example, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the clove, it was to come from Indonesia. So Pakistan was making very little clove in their this thing, but they were importing from Indonesia and giving duty free in India. There are cases which was there. So people import something from somewhere and just send it here, it could happen. Or so that's why this all thing which have become everything that you need to further check into details how it is happening. So one simple way is whether they are really originated goods. The second is they are partly produced. That means if I am making a car in India, then I am getting some imported machine, engine may be sometime imported, some electronics is imported, and then I make. So there are three parts. One is change in tariff classification. So I import something, but my finished product has got different CTH. Yeah. So you import, let us say, engine. So engines HS classification is different, and cars classification is different. So it has changed classification. Then the value content. Most of the free trade agreements has got a value condition. That value add should be 35%. That means you import from wherever it is, but in Thailand or in Korea free trade agreement, you add 35% minimum value. That means you have a 65% raw material, overheads, etc. But you should add your own value of 35%. That is called as the value content. And what are you allowed to process, what you are not allowed to process. So not originating goods, how you will balance. So this is what becomes a really more. So CAROTAR rule came. CAROTAR rule explains all this, what you call as a, how to go about collection of data, what data is important. And it goes into really detail, much detail, which we will see because it is a separate subject by itself. And it requires a lot of knowledge about free trade agreement. It requires a lot of knowledge about how the classification is arrived and various rules into that. And generally we, as I mentioned, we don't read the free trade agreement, but free trade agreement has given. So I have put some, right? So when we go to case by case, we are able to do. But suggestion is that, or how to value added, how to calculate that. Many things are there which you need to know at least on some hand, so that you are able to work with importer and you are able to explain to customs. So it's a subject which we will take it into new, because after some time it becomes very difficult, and to both critical topics it will be very difficult to see. But meanwhile, as we said, what are all problems which officers have asked you on using free trade agreement? Please list down and send that on to the BCBA, so that we are able to cover that. Because what our objective is not to only show you the procedural part which you can read, but very clearly what is your problem and what are we going to solve that. So that is the most important thing, which I will just close that. Say, for example, we wanted to collect questions like this, and this is what we will do when we will do sessions. In question, right? Why with QR, why defacing is required? This is there. So now everything is there. QR code, I mean, you are uploading, it is coming available, but still they ask you whether it is useful or not. This is a question. Often question come in examination, made in country is not on the goods. Is it mandatory in CAROTAR? It is never written into that. Good need not have that country of origin. But if it is in BIS, you need to have a sticker or something that is different. So such problem comes, and what we wanted to do is have these questions. One is basis, which you must understand concept theoretically, what is written in rule and regulation. And this is where we wanted to answer the questions so that you are able to practically try to solve your problem, or at least have your basis how to fight out or how to represent yourself in customs. So please give that questions. Yeah. Okay. So Chaitali, I think we'll stop here.
Thank you, Dr. Pramod. It's actually very interesting. I also picked up a couple of pointers on CAROTAR and the importance and all. हम लोग जब मिलेंगे, and this is for the viewers online also, we would request that please send us your questions related to CAROTAR. We will compile it or we will send it to Dr. Sant. So when we do a session on CAROTAR, we know exactly what are your pain points, what are the questions that are bothering you all, and then when the presentation is being done by you, Dr. Saab, you can take up those questions also, and then you can give them real-time replies also. Having said that, would like to take an opportunity to say thank you very much. We once again apologize for the inconvenience that was caused due to electricity fluctuation and all, but thank you very much for your patience. Thank you to everyone. You have been a wonderful audience. हमारी इच्छा है कि जिस वजह से हम लोग ने ये सेशन किया था, आप लोगों को आप इतना टाइम स्पेंड किया है अपने काम से. We know that you have to go back to your shipments and all. आपको आज के सेशन से कुछ टेक अवे मिला है, जो आपके डाउट्स थे वो क्लैरिफाई हो चुके हैं. मैम, we are very happy, and as a woman I'm very proud and very glad that every time we do a session at Nava Shiva, हमेशा there is 1, 2, 3 ladies joining. So please, thank you very much for coming, and please do continue coming, because we'll be doing a lot more sessions over here at the Center of Excellence, and we will do a Q&A part. Before we go on to the online questions, because we've got quite a few of them, because आप लोग यहाँ है physically, आप लोगों में से किसी के पास questions है जो हम लोग डॉक्टर प्रमोद संत के साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं, या तो फिर हम लोग के पास जो ऑनलाइन आया है हम लोग वो करेंगे. But the first preference is yours. आप किसी के पास कोई question है पूछने के लिए डॉक्टर संत के लिए? Yes, if it is related to classification, please go ahead. Okay. 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 All right. Yes, we can understand. Yes. Okay. Very nice. आपको ड्यूटी का पूछना है.
Officer has given first check. After first check examination was over, the officer assessed on second check on wrong basis. So we had to recall it. 5 days were gone in recall, and now when the duty is assessed, it has been with interest. So the importer is saying, why should we pay interest on the officer's fault? Because he had given a second check unnecessarily. No, in second check. No, second check he had not just put a notification benefit only. IGST was 0 in the second check. The situation got changed. Yeah, it got changed. Yeah. So what would the officer have classification, which we did, with a change? Yeah. Which we have accepted. Yeah. We have to pay the difference. See, whatever is that classification went into wrong. Yeah. Yeah. So the classification was accepted. What you were done was right, you accepted. And then you have a chance that because there was no clear in you. But in your case, the officer has given alternative classification, which is accepted by you. So that is a mistake which now we are correcting it. So, and the duty got delayed. So we have to pay. Okay. And if we opt for first check consignment, and if officer gives a second check by mistake, then whose mistake it is? If we opt for a first check, officer gives a second check in the starting only for re-import consignments. But after 15 days, re-import consignment takes 15 to 20 days approximately. So after 15 days, if the duty is paid with 15 days interest, whose mistake it is? Yeah, very non-practical point. you are having well, it was repair concern.
Yeah.
So one is that for that first sheet will be required, definitely for that. You will require a value, earlier reference by which it was sent. So old bill of entry, old invoice, when it was sent, then it is coming, then there is a repair cost which will come, on which the duty will be charged, which is there. Only first year, so why? And we are doing hundreds of repair. You cannot have 50 days. I'm telling you.
1 month.
No, it is 2 to 3rd day, it has to be there.
No, but chemicals go for test, no, sir.
How? Then you will have its own lead time. The normal. We can again different. First check is different. Analysis is going for analysis is different. Whatever.
Sorry, can we take this offline, please? Sorry, we need to do it because it's a little technical. We will take it online. Thank you very much. We have a couple of questions. All of them are quite different. Mr. Mahesh Kulkarni has asked if a servo drive system is imported mentioning UOM as each. However, the items, components like servo motor, drive, pump, noise filter, etc. are packed separately for packing and practical purposes for handling. Under which HS code would this system be classified? Individually, or because it's being packed separately, or still as one unit? Okay.
Convenience, it was packed separately, but transportation.
Correct.
So
Yes.
it happened in most many times all the items that you cannot ship it together.
My component. Yes.
Yeah, you cannot ship it together, and hence you can classify that. And accordingly, only my take on that is you make a proper invoice and in packing list in such a way that there is no further disputes.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope it answers your question, Mr. Kulkarni, if you are online, that you. Hope, Mr. Kulkarni, this answers your question. We have been asked one question with is RODTP scheme allowed for restricted items? Okay, so we will answer that question separately. Mr. Prasad Charatkar is asking, I have a consignment commodity which is in our bonded warehouse and needs to be exported back with doing job work, as in adding spare parts and repacking it. So if the consignment can be cleared under section 74 to enjoy the perks of it. I don't think it's the right question for you because it's not related to classification. There is another question by Mr. Kulkarni again. Our client is into manufacture of molding machines under 847710 and 847730. Few of the design parts are generic in nature and on its description per se. For example, screw, basically it's an injection screw, whereas on the basis of its description, it is screw. Customs is insisting on classifying it under 7318, whereas our client, it should fall under 84779. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So then we will take help of your slide and we'll send you this question.
Also, then
and if you can please reply to that. And another question which has come is SCOMET, but we are not going to take SCOMET today. So Mr. Kalyan, I'm sorry, we will answer your question at another time, but we will call for it. And we've received an anonymous question asking, why can't all countries have a common 10-digit code? Because currently what we have is like the first 4 digits or 6 digits are common, but China has different, we have different.
Right.
Other countries have different. So typically the dispute happens when we are bringing it in.
Yeah. So very good question. Very good question. And we also thought about that because we have a really good experience onto that. For example, relays. Relay below 2.5 amp and below about 2.5 amperes. They were differently classified in India in last 2 digits. So if you look at the Western world, relay was having only one classification. Whereas in India, we are differentiating between below 2.5 and above 2.5. And above 2.5 or below 2.5, there was lower duty and above higher duty, something like that. Why India classified this into 2 when world is having? Because we were having some constraint onto India in manufacturing or technology. We thought that if whatever we are making in India, we classify with amperage, they will have higher duty so that somebody cannot push. So we will help domestic. And what is not available in India will have lower duty. So we added that 2 digit to support industry. So each country takes this decision based on their individual needs, surrounding economic condition, political condition, and change that. So that's why if everybody becomes simpler, then becomes difficult for country. And in some areas where we want to give local jobs or local production, we will not be able to do. So we are able to maneuver with this.
Thank you very much. That's an excellent explanation, because typically we have these problems when the imports are coming from China and when we are exporting to South American countries, especially Brazil and all, because there's always a classification issue that arises.
Correct.
And it doesn't help that the shipping lines want the HS codes to be mentioned on the BL and things like that. So it happens. One last question. You're free to say no. It's about medical devices, on imports of medical devices. Does an importer, especially a trader importer, require an import license and registration of individual medical device?
Okay. I may not be able to answer fully onto that.
All right.
But I'm curious about exactly what equipment it is, number one.
Okay.
So that we are able to, because medical equipment become very wide,
Yes.
very wide category and regulation. So maybe with that we are able to find out.
We'll ask the sender
Yeah.
to send more details. So Mr. Kulkarni, again for you, thank you. You're the only one sending us the maximum amount of questions, and we appreciate your interest in this topic. If you can send us a detailed question, as Dr. Sant said, on your medical devices, we would be happy to send it across to him and get it answered, and then we will send out the answer to everyone. With this, we are closing the Q&A. If you all have sent us questions, I'm sorry, I have not been able to see them in the last 10 minutes. Please do send us an email to the secretariat. They will compile them. We will send it across to Dr. Sant, and along with the PPT, we will share all of this. Once again, thank you everyone for being a lovely audience.
This Q&A, no question is stupid question. So please feel asking question.
Please
Even
do not.
though you feel that how I'm asking question in 50 people, it's so simple, but please ask the question, because the subjects are vast and there is no one person who are able to tell answers. So the idea is we have 2,300 members
Yes.
who are handling across the all HS code, and we are having such a knowledge, we are able to compile this for which will help everybody.
When we go to the cargo or we go to Nava Shiva, अगर आपल्याला माहिती नसतं तर आपण एक दुसऱ्यांना विचारून नंतर जातो ना. तसंच तुमचे जे पण प्रश्न असणार, विचारायचं नाही की मी हे विचारलं तर मला कसं वाटणार, समोरवाल्याला कसं वाटणार, बिकॉज आपण सगळं इकडे अभ्यास करतोय. हम लोग सब इधर सीख रहे हैं, और अपना इंडस्ट्री का खासियत क्या है कि we never stop learning till the day we die. So if we are going to be in logistics and we are going to be proud logisticians, then we learn every single day. So for the people who are online also, please don't think that any question is big or small. There is every day something that we keep learning. And that's why we conduct these knowledge sessions, so that where we think that we have the information, we do it. Simple thing is, we all, if we have kids or we have grandkids, when they go to school and they come back, there is something new that is being taught to them now that we didn't learn before. So when my nieces ask me, I have to tell them I have to Google it, which is very embarrassing. But the fact is, I don't know a lot of things that they ask me, and there's nothing wrong in it, because we are not supposed to know everything. The idea is that we are sharing knowledge, and that is how we all empower each other. So please send us your questions without any hesitation, and they will all be answered, from the simplest to the most complicated one. And once again, deeply sorry to all of you sitting here as well as online for all the issues that we faced today, technical. Genuinely, this was something that was not expected or anticipated. Just think of it as your shipment getting stuck without having paper, last minute having some document come up and the customs raising an objection. But thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Sant. Thank you, everyone.